Well, welcome back to this week's lesson. Okay, we've been making many different pages for our book on the Moses lesson, and we've compiled quite a few. So today we're going to start with another page to add to our booklet. But before we begin, I'm just going to go, in case you haven't had an opportunity to do the lessons, you'll get to see some of the pictures we've made already. All right, we see baby Moses in the basket as he's traveling through the Nile. All right, so we see that one first. That one was a cutting exercise, all right? We did some cutting. Then we did a picture with the sheep and the little mountains in Egypt. It was almost like a little map where we learned how Moses traveled from Egypt to Midian, and it was a little tearing paper activity. So that was our second page. And I think these help us to remember the life of Moses because we're really learning a lot about him and his stories and his travels and journeys, right? So then we know that he's been a shepherd for about 40 years. And he one day goes to the mountain of Horeb, remember, and he sees this fire, right? This bush is on fire, but it's really not fire. It's God speaking through the fire, right? It's not being consumed by the fire. And that's where God tells him that he is going to be sent to Egypt to free the Israelite people. So that was a painting exercise. And then we learned about the plagues that Egypt suffered, right? When Moses went there and he tried to speak to the Pharaoh and try to have the people freed, we learned that God was showing his power and showing that, through God's power that you have to change your mind, Pharaoh, but he didn't. And we learned about the 10 plagues that we experienced. And we did a little dial. Remember that dial that we did? And showed all the different plagues. So that was a fun one. And then last week, we learned about the Passover. Remember how the Israelite people were spared because of the blood that they placed on the door frames. All right? And we had our little Bible verse inside. So that was our final page. And now again, we're going to make another page for the lesson that we heard yesterday. And remember, it was the parting of the Red Sea. So I thought what we'd do is we just come up with a little picture. All right? We're going to have our Red Sea, and it's going to open up onto the dry land. All right, so for this exercise, all you're really going to need is some construction paper and really use what you have. Okay, if you don't have blue, use green, whatever you have, or you want to paint it or you want to color it, do what you have and use the supplies that you have. But what I have today is I have some blue, all right, and I have some it's a kind of like a grayish white we're going to use for the background, and we're going to just need some scissors. If you need paint or you need crayons or markers, also what you'll need for this exercise is when you're putting the waves together, you're going to want to have some glue, and I use this little stick glue, okay? And if you want to put the Bible verse in, because inside here, I placed a little Bible verse, you can use like a black marker or something like that so you can write the Bible verse. And this one it's actually just telling you about the story, and it just says God makes a way for all of his people. And it's talking about Exodus 14 and 15 because that's kind of where the story takes place. But this is how we're going to get started, all right? So this is what it's going to make, and it opens up. But what you're going to do is take your blue piece of paper and you're just going to fold it in half, all right? Just take it very quickly, easily. And this is kind of a neat, easy lesson to do today. I think you'll find it's quite easy, but it's effective. Fold it together. Try to match them up as closely as possible because you know how when we do those cutting exercises and we try to make it look the same on each side? That's what we're doing today. And you can use your judgment like I did it to make like little waves, all right? And I cut it that way. But you can do little cuts, like little slashes inside if you want to make it almost like a little fringe look and curl them. You can do that, whatever you decide to do. But I'm going to go through here and I'm just going to make it look like little waves. I'm just going to go in and cut around. And I hope you had the opportunity to see that story because when you think of the power of God, that God was with Moses and allowing him to open up those waters and to allow the ground to be dry and to allow the people to go through, it is so amazing, right? It really is. I'm just doing this a little different so we have a little bit different look here to this. But you can do it however you want to. Alright, and that's going to be our wave, so it's going to be like this. And then when you get this part done, right where the crease is, you're going to take your scissors and just cut right straight through. Alright, and from this point on, this is actually going to make your wave. So when you close this up, it's going to match up, and this will give you the effect like the wave, all right? So you can have this. Now at this point, I did a double flap inside here, and I did another one so it was completely closed. You can do it however you want to, but we're going to just glue this on. And I'm going to just fold these over just a little bit so it makes a little bit of a barrier that it lifts up a little more easily. Just fold it over. See, I've folded that. Fold this one. And then what we'll do is we'll take our glue stick and we'll just glue the back of this and place it on the edge of our paper. And you can take your time and make this as beautiful and perfect as you want it to be, but I just want to kind of give you the idea of how this works. And I was thinking if you want to, you could even draw like little fish on your water to make it more fun, or put some like maybe glitter glue to make it sparkle like an ocean or the body of water. But we're going to do it like this, and as I said, if you want to do the extra flap inside, all you have to do is just basically take the paper and do the same thing like you did. You could do a different shade of blue. You could maybe do some like a turquoise, like a greenish color to make it look more like water, and do the same thing inside. But then when you're done with it, you can open it up, and like I said, I just put that little verse in there saying God makes a way for all of his people, and he does. And you can use another Bible scripture or a message inside there that would work for the Red Sea. But that is basically our next page for here, and it's just showing you and reminding you that as Moses traveled with the people to the promised land, they encountered another problem, and that was where they came to the Red Sea and they were trapped. But not without God. God helped them through. God helped them to open up the waters, and they were free to walk through on dry ground. And as I said, you can draw a picture of some little fish on here. You can make your little path, put people in here, whatever you want to do to have it as a constant reminder to you about the division of the Red Sea when it opened up. But I hope you enjoyed that little lesson, and we'll learn more about the story of Moses next week when we come back, and the different challenges he may face within his life and his journey to the promised land. But it was wonderful being here with you today. I wish you a great week, and God bless.